While the world races to plug in, Toyota dares to hit the brakes. As the auto industry rushes headfirst into an electric-only future, one giant refuses to follow the herd. Toyota isn't just stepping back, it's rewriting the rules of the game. While rivals boast about battery ranges and charging speeds, Toyota is asking a bigger question. What if the world isn't ready? What if electric isn't the only answer? In a stunning twist, Toyota has unveiled an engine that's shaking the very foundations of the EV market. Not because it's electric, but because it's not. And that bold decision has left the entire industry stunned. Why is Toyota going against the tide when brands like Tesla, Ford, and Volkswagen are pouring billions into EVs? Is it arrogance or is it insight? This isn't the first time Toyota has gone against the grain. Remember the Prius? In 1997, when the idea of hybrids was almost science fiction, Toyota made it a reality. And they didn't just introduce a new kind of car, they launched a revolution. Now, history might be repeating itself. Toyota says the world isn't ready for a full electric switch. Infrastructure is weak. Batteries still rely on rare materials. Costs are high. And millions of drivers live in regions where charging an EV just isn't practical. So instead of following the hype, Toyota is carving out its own path, one built on flexibility, innovation, and what it believes is real-world readiness. While others chase headlines, Toyota is building something different. Technology that works everywhere, for everyone, right now. The question isn't whether Toyota is falling behind. The real question is, what if they're actually way ahead? Everyone's going electric. But Toyota, they're rewriting the playbook. While the automotive spotlight shines on Tesla's gigafactories and Rivian's futuristic pickups, Toyota, the pioneer of hybrid tech, has quietly taken a different route. Not because they're behind, but because they see what others don't. Instead of racing into the electric frenzy, Toyota doubled down on hybrids and bet big on hydrogen, an energy path most automakers barely touch. And while critics were quick to call the company outdated, Toyota stayed calm, focused, strategic. To them, chasing an all-EV dream without fixing reality is like building a skyscraper on sand. And that stance exploded into headlines in 2021 when Toyota refused to sign the COP26 pledge, a global promise by automakers to end gas car sales by 2040. While the world applauded the agreement, Toyota said, "Not yet." The backlash was immediate. Accusations flew. Was Toyota blocking progress? Had the hybrid king lost its touch? But Toyota didn't blink. Because behind closed doors, their engineers were asking harder questions. What happens to drivers in rural India, in remote Africa, in crowded Southeast Asia? What good is a cutting-edge EV if there's nowhere to charge it? Toyota sells cars in over 200 countries, and in many of those places, electric cars simply aren't realistic. Power grids are unreliable, charging stations are rare, and the cost of EVs is still out of reach for millions. Laws banning gas cars by 2035 might sound great in theory, but Toyota knows the truth. Real change needs real solutions, and EVs alone won't cut it. That's why Toyota isn't just building cars for headlines. They're building cars for the world, for every city, every village, every climate. Whether it runs on hydrogen, battery, hybrid, or gasoline, Toyota's mission is simple: keep people moving, no matter where they are. This isn't a step back. It's a different kind of leap forward. Meet the man who challenged the global EV obsession, Akio Toyoda, Toyota's former CEO and the architect of its unconventional strategy. Until stepping down in 2023, Toyota didn't just run the company. He defended its vision with fierce conviction. Unlike many auto executives who echoed the same pro-electric narrative, Toyota chose to speak the inconvenient truth. He didn't hate electric vehicles. He just didn't think they were the silver bullet the world wanted them to be. While startups like Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid stole the spotlight with flashy EV launches, Toyota took a different road. Under his leadership, Toyota kept investing in hybrids, pushed forward with hydrogen fuel cell development, and refined ultra-efficient combustion engines. He believed the industry was being swept up in hype, and that pushing EVs too fast, too soon, could lead to serious consequences. The world got a taste of that conviction in 2021, when Toyota made global headlines by refusing to sign the COP26 climate agreement. The pact urged automakers to phase out gas-powered cars entirely by 2040. Every major player seemed on board, but not Toyota. Critics were furious. Environmental groups accused the brand of dragging its feet. But inside Toyota, the message was clear: The world isn't ready for a full EV takeover, and the data backs that up. Toyota argued that while EVs look clean on the surface, the deeper story is far more complicated. Take the global electric grid, for example. Right now, EVs make up only around 1% of all vehicles worldwide. But what happens when that jumps to 10%, 20%, or even 50%? According to Toyota's internal estimates, a heavy EV transition in the United States alone would require a 40% increase in electricity production by 2030. That's the equivalent of building dozens of new power plants in less than a decade, and just to keep up with EV charging demand. And here's where it gets even more complicated. In many parts of the world, electricity still comes from fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas. So while EVs don't burn gasoline, they often rely on dirty energy from the grid, especially in regions like Southeast Asia, India, or parts of Africa. Add to that the fact that most countries still lack reliable charging infrastructure or stable electricity in general. And you begin to see Toyota's point. The stakes aren't just about innovation, they're about access. Toyota operates in over 200 countries, many of which don't have the infrastructure to support EVs at scale. Forcing a one-size-fits-all electric future could leave millions of drivers stranded. That's why Toyota has doubled down on technological diversity, pushing forward with hybrids, advancing hydrogen power, and perfecting cleaner combustion engines that can still serve people where EVs can't reach. This is more than strategy. It's a long game. Toyota isn't denying that EVs are part of the future. They're simply saying that they're not the whole future. And with energy grids under strain, battery supply chains under pressure, and the global transition far more complex than many are willing to admit, maybe, just maybe, Toyota isn't falling behind. It's just looking further ahead. They promised the electric future would be clean, but behind the shimmer of silence and zero emissions lies a dirty truth buried deep in the battery. At the core of every electric vehicle is a power source that's hailed as revolutionary, the lithium-ion battery. But what they won't show you in those glossy EV commercials is the environmental destruction it leaves behind. Lithium is the lifeblood of these batteries, and the race to mine it is creating chaos. Countries like Chile, Argentina, and Australia are being drained, literally. The extraction process sucks up millions of gallons of water, dries out landscapes, and poisons entire ecosystems. In some regions, villages are losing access to clean water because lithium mining is stealing it from beneath their feet. And that's just the beginning. To build a single EV battery, you also need nickel, cobalt, and manganese, metals that often come from dangerous, unregulated mines in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The stories are chilling. Children forced into mines, working in life-threatening conditions, all to power the so-called clean future. So sure, your EV doesn't have a tailpipe, but the path it took to your driveway? It's paved with exploitation and environmental wreckage. And when that battery dies, after 8 to 15 years, what happens next? Most of the world has no scalable solution for recycling them. These once-celebrated power packs become hazardous waste, sitting in landfills, leaking toxins, and creating a problem far bigger than the gas cars we're trying to replace. Now let's talk money. EVs aren't just expensive, they're luxury items. In the United States, the average electric car sells for over $50,000, while a standard gas-powered vehicle averages around $35,000. That's a $15,000 gap. And for most families, that gap might as well be a canyon. Why are they so costly? Again, it's the battery. It's the most expensive part of the vehicle. And with materials becoming scarcer and harder to extract, those prices are only going up, not down. Yes, governments offer tax credits and incentives, but for how long? When those run out, millions of buyers, especially in developing countries, will be left behind, unable to afford even the cheapest EV. This is exactly why Toyota refuses to blindly follow the crowd. Instead of chasing trends, Toyota is looking at the bigger picture. They know that pushing EVs globally, without fixing these supply chains, price points, and infrastructure issues, will create a new kind of inequality, a world where clean transportation is a privilege, not a right. And here's the kicker. Even if you can afford the EV, you still need to charge it. The EV dream sounds perfect until you look closer. Toyota did. Electric vehicles were supposed to be the future, sleek, silent, zero-emission machines cruising into a cleaner tomorrow. But step behind the curtain, and that vision isn't as flawless as it seems. Charging an EV? It's not like topping off a gas tank in 5 minutes. A standard home charger can take 8 to 40 hours, depending on your battery and your setup. Sure, there are fast chargers, but they're expensive, few, and far between. And if you don't have a garage, forget it. Millions of people live in apartments or park on the street with no access to charging at all. Right now, the U.S. has roughly 160,000 public EV chargers. Sounds decent, until you realize we'll need at least 1.6 million just to keep up. That's a mountain of infrastructure that takes years and billions to build. And here's the kicker. The more EVs we buy, the worse the shortage becomes. So, while everyone else was sprinting toward an electric-only future, Toyota paused and asked a deeper question. What happens to the people left behind? Toyota isn't anti-EV. They build them, but they know better than to bet everything on a single path. Because not everyone can afford a $50,000 EV. Not everyone lives in a place with charging access. Not everyone wants to wait 10 hours to fill up. That's why Toyota is building something radical, something the rest of the auto world barely talks about. Hydrogen-powered combustion engines. Yes, engines, real ones, with pistons, with torque, with the soul and sound of performance driving, but powered by compressed hydrogen, not gasoline. They've already made it happen. The Corolla Cross H2 and the hydrogen GR Yaris are already tearing up test tracks. These aren't concepts. They're proof that you can have power, speed, and emotion without burning a single drop of fossil fuel. Hydrogen burns hot. It ignites clean. No CO2, no smoke, just raw energy. Toyota re-engineered everything. The pistons, the valves, the fuel system, the ignition. It wasn't easy, but it worked. And the result? A driving experience that feels thrillingly familiar, but with a future-forward twist. Fast refueling, zero tailpipe emissions, real engines, real driving. And unlike EVs, there's no need for lithium, cobalt, or massive battery banks, no charging delays, no rare earth dependency, no battery waste crisis waiting to explode a decade from now. This isn't just innovation, it's insurance, a safeguard against a fragile, battery-only vision of the future. While the world chases one solution, Toyota is building many, because the future isn't just electric, the future is options, and Toyota's playing the long game, again, the hidden hero of clean cars, why hydrogen may be the comeback. No one saw coming, let's face it. Electric cars are impressive. Instant torque, smooth acceleration, and zero tailpipe emissions. But for many drivers, they just don't feel like cars anymore. No revs, no growl, no heartbeat. Driving an EV can feel more like riding a giant smartphone on wheels. But what if we told you there's a clean tech that brings back the thrill? Hydrogen combustion isn't just an experiment. It's a resurrection of everything we love about classic driving. The sound, the rumble, the connection between car and driver. It delivers the raw pulse of performance, without the pollution. And the best part, refueling doesn't take 30 or 40 minutes like it does with EVs, even on fast chargers. With hydrogen, you're in and out in as little as 90 seconds to 5 minutes. Just pull up, refuel, and hit the road. No app juggling, no waiting around, no range planning for your weekend trip. Speaking of range, ever heard of range anxiety? EV drivers know it too well. One wrong turn or detour and you're sweating bullets, watching the battery tick down. Hydrogen-powered cars? No sweat. They go hundreds of miles on a single tank, just like gasoline cars. But hydrogen's real flex? It doesn't care about the weather. EV batteries hate extremes. In deep winter, they can lose up to 50% of their range. In blazing heat, they risk overheating. Hydrogen combustion doesn't flinch. Whether it's minus 10 degrees Celsius or plus 40 degrees C, performance stays consistent. That's peace of mind you can count on. And let's not forget the weight. EVs carry giant battery packs that make them heavier and clumsier than most gas cars. That extra mass eats into efficiency and agility. Hydrogen combustion skips the bulk and delivers a lighter, sharper, more agile driving experience. Now, here's the elephant in the room: infrastructure. Hydrogen stations are scarce. Most are in California. Europe has a few. That's not enough to go mainstream, and Toyota knows it. That's why they're already working with governments and private industries to build the next generation of hydrogen fueling stations. It's not fast, it's not cheap, but it's already in motion. And yes, most hydrogen today is made from natural gas, which still releases carbon. But Toyota is betting big on green hydrogen, produced using wind, solar, and hydropower. It's clean, it's sustainable, but it'll take time to scale. So why go through all this? Because Toyota doesn't believe in a one-size-fits-all solution. While others are putting every chip on battery electric, Toyota's playing the long game, building a world where hybrids, BEVs, and hydrogen all play a part in a carbon-neutral future. And here's one last twist. Hydrogen combustion engines are serviceable by your local mechanic. No expensive EV diagnostics, no waiting for factory-trained specialists. The traditional repair industry survives. In a world dominated by EVs, it might not. So what's next? If Toyota's right, the future of driving might not be quiet and sterile. It might roar back to life with hydrogen flames, keeping the spirit of the combustion engine alive in a cleaner, smarter world. The idea of hydrogen replacing electric vehicles may seem far-fetched. You might want to close your window and dismiss the thought. But Toyota is playing the long game. The real question isn't whether hydrogen can work. It's whether it can grow fast enough to challenge the dominance of EVs. Right now, the EV market is booming, with billions of dollars invested in battery technology and charging infrastructure. Hydrogen, in comparison, is still in its infancy and will require massive investment to become a truly viable alternative. But here's the twist. Toyota isn't betting solely on hydrogen. Instead, it's working on a strategy that blends electric power with conventional engines in a way that makes sense not just for today, but for tomorrow too. We're talking about something in between, hybrids and mixed-engine solutions that offer the best of both worlds. And that's exactly what we're about to dive into, hydrogen versus electric. Let's be honest, when it comes to convenience, electric vehicles are dominating for one simple reason: they fit seamlessly into daily life. You don't need to hunt for a rare fueling station. You just plug your EV in at home, the office, or even while grabbing groceries. It's this ease of access that's fueling the EV revolution. Meanwhile, hydrogen? It's still stuck in first gear. Building a hydrogen refueling station is no small feat. It demands high-pressure storage, advanced safety tech, and millions in infrastructure. Compare that to EV chargers, which can be installed almost anywhere, from homes and parking lots to roadside cafes. It's no surprise that the U.S. already has over 160,000 public EV charging points, while hydrogen barely registers with around 60 stations nationwide. And that difference changes everything. If you drive an EV, you can charge overnight in your garage. No planning, no stress. But with hydrogen, unless you live near one of those rare refueling points, you're out of luck. You can't fill up at home, and even in cities that have hydrogen infrastructure, the stations are scattered and unreliable. Then there's the rollout. Installing EV chargers is relatively cheap and fast. A basic Level 2 home charger costs a few $100s. Even rapid chargers like Tesla superchargers are popping up everywhere. But hydrogen? It's in another league of complexity. These stations need reinforced tanks, real-time monitoring, and industrial-grade systems just to store the fuel. That's why building even one can cost millions. And that kind of investment? It's not easy to justify when there are barely any hydrogen vehicles on the road. Toyota is working to change that, teaming up with governments and energy companies, but the momentum is slow. Countries like Japan, Germany, and South Korea are making strides, but globally, hydrogen is crawling while EVs are sprinting. Now let's talk money. Hydrogen isn't just rare, it's pricey. Right now, it'll cost you $12 per kilogram, and most hydrogen cars need 5 to 6 kilograms per fill-up. That's $60 to $80 per tank. That's comparable to gas, but a far cry from the $5 to $15 EV owners pay to fully charge at home. Even public fast chargers are cheaper than hydrogen. And here's the truth most people don't know. Hydrogen isn't as green as it seems. Over 95% of it is made using natural gas, a process that still releases carbon emissions. So while hydrogen vehicles don't pollute out of the tailpipe, the way we make hydrogen today still harms the environment. Green hydrogen, produced with wind and solar, is the dream, but it's nowhere near mass scale yet. So while hydrogen tech is impressive and the vision is futuristic, the reality today is simple. EVs are easy, cheap, and everywhere. Hydrogen? Not yet. The road to a hydrogen future is possible, but it's long, expensive, and full of roadblocks. Until that changes, electricity isn't just the king of clean transportation, it's the one charging ahead while hydrogen plays catch-up. We've all heard the hype around electric vehicles. Plug them in, save the planet, drive into the future. But beneath the shiny marketing and quiet motors, there's a deeper story unfolding, one where Toyota is quietly preparing for a different kind of revolution. One that doesn't just rely on lithium, but leans into balance, resilience, and real-world usability. Let's start with hydrogen. On paper, it sounds perfect. Clean, powerful, and produced from the most abundant element in the universe. But there's a truth we can't ignore. Most hydrogen today isn't as green as we imagine. It's made using natural gas, which still pumps carbon into the air. That's why Toyota is pushing for green hydrogen, created using solar and wind energy. It's clean, but it's also expensive and hard to scale, for now. Then comes the biggest challenge. People simply don't understand hydrogen cars. Everyone knows what a Tesla looks like. Everyone has seen an EV charging at a mall or in a driveway. But hydrogen? That feels like science fiction to most. Toyota knows it has to do more than build the tech. It has to teach the world what hydrogen can actually do. But Toyota isn't banking on hydrogen alone. While other brands are rushing toward an all-electric future, Toyota is doubling down on something that's already working: hybrids. Remember the Prius? That was just the beginning. Toyota's modern hybrids offer the perfect mix of electric efficiency and gasoline reliability. No charging stations, no range anxiety, no lifestyle changes, just dependable, efficient driving. And for those who want the best of both worlds, plug-in hybrids are the sweet spot. Quiet electric driving for daily commutes and a gas engine for road trips. It's a setup that works especially well in places where electricity isn't always reliable or where charging infrastructure is still catching up. Toyota's vision isn't about forcing drivers into a one-size-fits-all solution. It's about meeting people where they are, whether they live in a bustling city or a rural town, whether they drive across the state or just to work and back. But here's where things get even more interesting. The heavyweights of transportation, trucks, buses, haulers. These aren't easy to electrify. Batteries are massive. Charging takes hours. The downtime costs money. Hydrogen has the potential to change that. It refuels in minutes, carries more range, and keeps big machines moving without compromise. Imagine a world where the biggest trucks on the road don't belch smoke, don't rumble with combustion, but glide forward with nothing but clean hydrogen pushing them. That world isn't decades away. Toyota has already turned it into reality. In California and Japan, Toyota's hydrogen-powered heavy-duty vehicles are no longer experiments. They're moving freight, crossing highways, proving that zero-emission transport doesn't have to mean compromise. These aren't battery trucks stuck at charging stations for hours. These are machines that refuel in minutes and roll out with long-range power, exactly what the logistics world needs. And here's the brilliance. Hydrogen trucks don't need a station on every street corner. They just need a few, along highways, ports, major freight corridors. For an industry built on predictable routes, this makes deployment faster, cheaper, and smarter. But Toyota isn't just focused on trucks or just on hydrogen. It's leading a much bigger movement, a future where technology adapts to people, not the other way around. While some automakers are betting everything on EVs, Toyota is building something far more flexible. It's not about one winner, it's about balance. It's about options. Yes, EVs are vital. Toyota knows this, and it's deep in the race, developing advanced solid-state batteries that could someday power lighter, more affordable, longer-range electric cars. But it's also realistic. The world isn't ready to flip the switch all at once. Not every country has reliable electricity. Not every driver wants to plug in. Not every use case makes sense for a battery. That's why hybrids still matter, a lot. Toyota's hybrids don't rely on public chargers. They sip fuel, cut emissions, and feel just like the cars people already know, only better. And for those who want a taste of electric driving without losing range freedom, plug-in hybrids offer the best of both worlds, and there's more. Toyota's gaze isn't just fixed on personal cars. It's locked onto the hardest problems: how to clean up buses, trucks, and heavy vehicles, the very backbone of global transportation. And in that space, hydrogen might just be the silver bullet. So while other automakers chase headlines, Toyota is building a future that works for everyone, everywhere. It's not gambling on one idea, it's mastering all of them. The road ahead won't belong to a single technology. It never has. Diesel didn't kill gas, planes didn't erase ships, the future is layered, and Toyota knows it. Now the choice is yours. Do you wait for a perfect solution or embrace the power of many? Are you ready for a hydrogen-fueled future? If this vision inspired you, drop your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe. Toyota's story is just getting started, and the next chapter might just change how we move forever.